It's absolutely amazing how Sanchez talks about Froman, Geithner, and shows images of Rahm Emanuel, but doesn't say a single word about these guys being Jewish Zionists who gave a lot of money to Obama's campaign.
The president has been very tough on the banking industry, saying that they should do more to boost the economy by freeing up the credit markets, among other things. Despite that tough rhetoric, some critics are saying the president is too close to the bankers. Taibbi among those, contributing editor for the Rolling Stone magazine, and he's written a piece called Obama's Big Sellout. He says, and this is a sentence that really got me, and I've read his piece several times now and read everything that's been written about his piece, by the way, and that's a lot. He says, Mr. Obama's economic team is made up exclusively of callous millionaire, he has another word after millionaire that we can't use on TV, who have no interest in reforming the gamed system that made them rich in the first place. I think that pretty much captures the essence of what he's talking about. It's tough talk, and he's good enough to join us now. Matt, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Rick.
Good to see you. Let's start with the news today. I think have we got that video of these bankers that came out today? If we do, put it up. If not, it doesn't matter, because I got these bankers who came out today after meeting with the president, and one of them, a fellow named Davis, said when it comes to bonuses and compensation, they're going to quote do better than in the past. Is that good enough?
It's probably not going to be good enough for a lot of people out there. I think the problem that most people have is there is really a disconnect between Wall Street and the public on this issue. I think the public increasingly feels like these banks were the beneficiary of an enormous amount of governmental support and taxpayer support last year, and they're using that support to turn it into bonuses, whereas Wall Street sees themselves as making their money fair and square, and they want to keep the money that they earn. And this is a fundamental disagreement that these two groups have.
But in your article, you know what's interesting about your article? For the first time, it seems to me, someone like you has come out and made this up an Obama thing. You write that he ran as a progressive but ended up shipping off his progressives, in other words, moving the people who were more populists, and instead packed his administration's key economic positions with the same people who caused the economic disaster that we're in now. You stand by that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, obviously, Obama, the problematic part of that equation is the idea that Obama ran as a progressive. A lot of people would take issue with that. I think he ran as more of a progressive than he's been as president, and he had some people advising him when he was running who would probably qualify as more progressive than the people who are in the White House now, among them Karen Kornbluh and Austin Goolsbee, the University of Chicago professor. But those people were really not part of the team after the election. Right after Obama got elected, the day after, he brought in Michael Froman, a high-ranking Citigroup executive, to basically run his be the top economic headhunter for his transition team.
Well, let's talk about Citigroup, because, man, you level them in this thing.
Right.
By the way, we reached out to the White House. We asked them, and I tweeted a bunch of folks last night. I sent them all a link to your article and asked them what they thought about it.
Right.
Andrew Sorkin, you know Andrew Sorkin at the New York Times.
Yep.
He gave you kind of a review that's kind of in the middle. Did you read what he had said? Do we have that up? Can we show that to him real quick while we're on this? What does he say? Let's Eric in Washington. What did he say? We're going to try and put that up for you. He says there's a grain of truth in there somewhere, but a lot of hyperbole too. You accept that criticism?
Well, I mean, I think that I think a lot of people in the journalism business have really more of an issue with the style of writing that I use than the substance of it. I think it's typically in mainstream journalism we show both sides of the equation, and that's not really the way I perceive my job. I make a case, and I don't always feel the need to present the other side of it. I think in this issue, I thought it was important to point out to people the extent to which a certain group of people had taken over the White House. And
let's go back to the question I raised just a moment ago. You specifically go after Citigroup
Right.
Some of the folks who you believe were kind of double dipping. They were working for the President of the United States or the President-to-be while they were also working with Citigroup while working with the President to create a bailout for Citigroup. You think that was a conflict of interest. That's your point.
Well, I think a lot of people, if this had happened in the Bush administration, progressives would have been all over this. Here you have Michael Froman is brought in on November 5th, the day after the election. He's a sitting Citigroup executive. He does not resign from Citigroup until February. During this entire period is when the Citigroup bailout is happening. As soon as the bailout, it's a $300 billion bailout, it happens a couple of weeks after the election. The same day that bailout happens, Obama hires Timothy Geithner to be his Treasury Secretary. Now, of course, Geithner used to work for Bob Rubin, who was a Citigroup executive. And in
Clinton administration.